Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Wrecking Ball, by Jeff Kinney. March, Sunday. I've read that in ancient times, they used to bury kings and pharaohs with all their possessions. Back then, I guess they thought you could take your things with you into the afterlife. Well, if I get buried with all my junk, I might really regret it later on. Mom's having me do some spring cleaning to get rid of things I don't need. Well, that seemed like a good idea until I realized just how much stuff I've actually got. I spent the whole morning going through my closet, and it's crazy how much stuff was packed in there. And it's not like it was organized or anything. I've basically been throwing things in my closet since we first moved in. Digging through my closet was like going through my childhood, and the farther back I went, the farther back in time it took me. The stuff near the front of the closet was all junk I tossed in there over the past year, like homework assignments and comic books. But after I got those things out of the way, I started finding stuff I forgot about. I found a model rocket I got for my 10th birthday and a costume I wore for Halloween a few years ago. And there was a bunch of other things I didn't even know I still had. When I dug in a little deeper, I found something I thought I'd lost years ago. It was a binder full of stickers I collected in the 3rd grade. I used to be obsessed with stickers, especially the scratch and sniff kind. I collected all the good smells, like bubblegum and cotton candy and that sort of thing. But I had all the really gross ones too. So when a kid on my street wanted to know what giraffe poop or rotten meatloaf smelled like, they'd come to me. One of these days, I'm going to write my autobiography, and it's going to include scratch and sniff stickers to mark all the different moments in my life. And that's when I realized I had stepped in dog poop. Scratch here. I kept digging through my closet and found stuff from kindergarten, like a fish I made by tracing my hand on a piece of construction paper. I used to love doing arts and crafts back then, and if anyone ever tried to bully me about it, they'd get a face full of glitter. Another project I found in my closet was a gift I made for my mom in preschool but never gave her. It was a paper flower with a picture of my face in the middle, glued to a popsicle stick. When I made the thing, I put it in a little clay pot filled with dirt, but I tripped on the front step when I got home from school that day, and that's why I never gave it to her. I was glad when I finally reached the back of my closet, but to be honest, I was a little disappointed too. When I was younger, I read this book about these kids who could visit a whole different world by going through their closet, and I always wondered if I might be able to do the same thing with mine. But I thought that whoever lived on the other side might not be too happy with me for tossing all my junk in there over the years. When I told my mom I was done emptying my closet today, she said I needed to put everything into 3 piles, 1 to keep, 1 to donate, and 1 to throw away. But I figured if I had to let go of any of my junk, I might as well make some money off of it. So I decided to have a yard sale. Mom thought that was a great idea. So she gave me a magazine that had all sorts of tips for how to do it right. All the ideas in the magazine were corny and old-fashioned, though. There was one section on how to create a sign to get people to come to your yard sale, and all the examples they showed were really boring. Cool stuff sale. Look, yard sale, this way. Yard sale, Saturday, 8 to 11 a.m. I knew that if I wanted people to actually show up at my yard sale, I needed to do something a little more eye-catching. So I whipped up a sign I knew would do the trick. $100 bill found on sidewalk. Please come to 12 Surrey Street to claim your property. I made a few copies of my sign and headed out to post them around the neighborhood, but Mom stopped me before I got out the front door. Mom made me make signs that were more like the ones in the magazine, and after I was finished, I stapled them to some of the telephone poles on our street. Then I hauled everything down from my bedroom and started setting it all out on some plastic tables. Each table had its own category like clothes and books and that kind of thing. But some stuff wasn't easy to categorize, so I had to get creative. I had a bunch of gifts from my grandparents and older relatives that I never even touched, so I put all those things together on one table. I stuffed all my random items like marbles and a few pencil stubs into some tube socks and thumbtacked them to a table. I also created a table full of things for people who had money to burn. I put all my old arts and crafts projects on their own table just in case some kids needed a gift for their parents but didn't want to put in the time. While I was finishing up, Mom came outside to check out my yard sale, and she seemed pretty impressed. But she said I should hold on to the things I made myself, since that stuff is really special. I told Mom that if she wanted something, she could always buy it herself. She offered me $3 for that paper flower I made for her in preschool. Mom seemed pretty eager to have that thing, and I could tell it was worth more than $3 to her. So I told Mom it was all hers for 10. I guess I pushed my luck though, because she went back inside without buying anything. While I waited for customers to show up, I started getting a little nervous. I realized all my stuff was just lying out in the open, and I had no way to stop people from stealing it. So I called my best friend, Rowley Jefferson, and asked him to come down and be my theft prevention officer.